This video is intended to describe a light blade talisman named Vitality. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map I'll utilize for chakra stimulation reference, as well as this lovely piece of white leather and this bottle of biblical magic, which is actually a very potent blend of sacred oils crafted for my boy using sacred oils from Egypt. Pretty cute. Actually, it's a very personal aspect. And so it's a combination right here of blue lotus, get the focus right, red rose oil, white rose, amber, and tamarisk, which is a very, very potent concentration, which is actually a determined joke of concentrated potency of oil that's now become biblical magic, so now it's become its own blend, which is why it's relevant, because this entire sacred oil has been consecrated or anointed into the saturation of the wood for this entire very ambitious Regal vibratory output generator that's technically worn as a talisman on the person. Okay, without further ado, we'll be discussing the primary blade band of this entire construct, which works like a reminiscent to a closed-loop reactive circuit, which of course will work to also contain and redirect and govern the excess vibratory output of this device in what vaguely resembles a figure 8 for a distinct purpose of optimized energetic recirculation in a unit that could be worn. I'll go ahead and discuss the transmutation ratio, which of course goes laterally like so, up the sides right here to this lateral band, and to this lateral band to recirculate that particular ignition sequence of the transmutation ratio as the primary blade band grounds into it, recirculates to the apex band. And so the aspect of the transmutation ratio, hence has been dubbed with that name, is that of transmuting crystals. Starting off with hematite to serve as a tremendous grounder of all excess energy through the root chakra firmly through the earth stars into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing, in tandem with smoky quartz to provide much the same energetic pathway function configuration effect on the auric field, to once again purify by taking all negative energies and firmly grounding through the root into the earth stars, into the earth for the earth star meridian matrix for consistent energetic dialysis, or you can think of it as the etheric Teflon to deflect and diffuse excess current by firm anchorage grounding into the earth. As well as, besides being a lovely transmutation agent, it also encourages an aspect of tangibilizing and comfortably grounding this entire exotic high-yield frequency pitch by going right through this subcircuit to ensure the grounding sequence is part of its primary directive of course, making the magic real and bringing grounded comfortability by transmuting any negativity very quickly through the auric field in the contact patch of the environment, for example. And for such a very ambitious high-yield device, the transmutation ratio will be quite useful for efficiency and grounding all the excess overture of this very royal opulent construct. And the very apex band where eventually the necklace will be installed, seen right here, is a rather regal and opulent combination of both clear quartz to be a neutral accelerant of the energy going into lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is a classic 5th and 6th chakra stimulant of ancient Egyptian royal utilization, and of course is a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a good reason, as well as being a tremendous higher truth spiritual stimulant to stimulate the 5th chakra and the 6th chakras of one sovereign nature. In tandem with the lovely clear quartz, be neutral accelerant into, what I was going to say, was in tandem with the lovely blue sapphire, seen right here. Blue sapphire is a corundum family, oftentimes 8.5 out of 9 on the hardness scale, and a true stone of ancient notarization as well as royal utilization for the 5th and 6th chakra stimulation of the wind elements. So this classic royal precious stone utilization is quite diverse in the mineral kingdom of utilization for distinct purpose of being a tremendous awakening of one's highest truth in a very vibrationally dense, strong atomical structure. So that apex band, like so, with lapis, clear quartz, blue sapphire, clear quartz, and lapis, and blue sapphire, and so on, till it grounds back into the transmutation ratio. As well as the very heavy dose of those two exact frequencies right here on the blade face are well represented as well, which of course is making me jump around from what is usually typical in dissertation to primarily discuss the blade band, but I might as well discuss them right now. So that apex band right here is the aspect of being the lateral vibrational redirection containment of this entire unit, that of, once again, blue sapphire and lapis lazuli in very heavy concentration seen mounted to the blade face itself. Because blue sapphire is quite the powerful 5th and 6th chakra stimulant of wind elemental origin. Once again, I'll mention it. But the aspect also, it brings a very powerful sovereign royal truth stimulation that's very, very dense in its regal capacity. Hence, it's a true precious stone of notoriety and antiquity that literally all humans have heard of for its precious nature, which is well deified and justified through the histories of humanity of utilizing this precious stone, seen right here. Particularly in tandem with lapis, they work very fantastic together because they have the same energetic pathway stimulation of both the 5th and 6th chakra in tandem. So together, they generate quite significant vibrational compound interest to one's highest sovereign truth in their human experience. Okay. So I already discussed the apex band of, once again, the lapis, the blue sapphire, into the transmutation ratio. Now this would be the primary blade band. That of rutilated quartz to work as a massive acceleration of this energy sequence seen right here. Rutilated quartz actually is clear quartz with bands of rutile in the structure, which means it has bands of titanium oxide, which works as a super accelerant to whatever frequency is next to it. So it dramatically intensifies the entire ignition sequence seen right here. Going into red jasper to be the quintessential root chakra stabilizer in the mineral kingdom of great notoriety, which I will omit to save time for this dissertation. Then going into golden healer quartz to be the quintessential high heart stimulant gold white light source attunement frequency resonance. So obviously in any endeavor of vibrational engineering, having the emanation of gold white light source creation, or the heart of the forest if you would, is self-evidently advantageous as part of the primary blade band circuit. To keep one's actions in alignment with the source emanation of who they are in truth is the big prerogative here. Then golden healer quartz into the lovely legendary ruby. So ruby is the root chakra stimulant of unparalleled notoriety in the mineral kingdom as a true precious stone of antiquity, and actually works as a perfect antithesis complementary cousin to blue sapphire. They are of the same family, that of being a corundum based, which means, of course, they have a very strong hardness, just like blue sapphire, to have that particular pitch of both blue and red at perhaps the most dense, sharp atomical structure to really intensify both the red ray and the blue ray. And the aspect of rutilated quartz going into red jasper again, so the big function of this primary blade band for vitality is to have a very powerful encouragement of stimulation of the root chakra in tandem with acceleration into the stabilization. So when you combine both red jasper and ruby, like so, it makes for a very dynamic, intensive activation of the root chakra, as well as, most importantly, a stabilization in the ignition sequence to develop a very firm foundational structure for the entire chakra column as a root chakra extreme stimulation, but stabilization, most importantly. With the source energy in alignment with the rutilated quartz to intensify that subsequence. So basically, that would be the entirety of the blade band mentioned, once again, of the primary blade band of extreme stabilization, stimulation of the root chakra in tandem with source energy, grounded into the transmutation ratio to once again govern the excess pitch of this primary blade band, grounding into the grounding sequence to ground this energy, to of course make the magic real, and bring efficiency to the entire construct by giving a firm ground to the structure. Then going up to, once again, the extreme 5th chakra and 6th chakra stimulant apex band seen right here to be the absolute perfect antithesis of the red ray stimulation, with the blue ray stimulation being the perfect balance for the root chakra and the 5th in tandem. And to get a little far out, in theory, of course, the aspect of extreme red ray stimulation would be conducive to stimulating hydrogen in the body, and then the blue ray up here will be very conducive to stimulate the oxygen. So in tandem, the hydrogen-oxygen even ratios being balanced would be perpetual regeneration for vitality's sake. So once again, that's the blade band that vaguely resembles a figure 8 to complete the energetic sequence and take all the excess momentum of all these exotic crystals yet to be mentioned on the blade face and give it a vibrational containment governance that will consistently recirculate through this entire segment of a, once again, can't say this enough, which vaguely resembles a figure 8. So I've already discussed this blade face pretty well at this point, if just once again the blue sapphire and lapis lazuli. I'll go ahead and flip it over, discuss this side over here. Starting at the very apex right here is fulgurite. Fulgurite is actually is petrified lightning. That is literally lightning striking sand, which is the power of lightning, which is very powerful for stimulating the entire chakra calm, as well as First Nation shamans would use it as a spirit tool to intensify their prayers back to Creator by literally harnessing the power of lightning to put their intentional magic or medicine back into the ethers or the cosmos or Father Sky to intensify their magic's manifestation capacities. So that's pretty dynamic, full light body activator as well, with literally the power of lightning, but thank God it has all the stability and the grounding to get the most out of that lightning power. Then right here is Star Argonite. Star Argonite is a very fantastic calcium-based full light body activator as well, and works to very quickly and efficiently clear patterns of dis-ease in the whole capacity chakra calm of any kind of stagnant patterns that be impeding a full light body functional healthy pathway. So that's one of the quintessential master healers I utilize quite religiously for a distinct purpose, particularly in a certain trifecta, which eventually will make sense as I get to them. Anyhow, then right here, at the very apex behind the selenites right here is actually 4 pieces of chaurite seen like so. Chaurite is a very fantastic violet ray crystal that has inclusions of something called dendric, which actually is black ray with calcite imbued. So actually, chaurite is a violet crystal that would be, of course, expected to stimulate the violet ray crown chakra, but the aspect of the dendric actually brings a very comprehensive grounding of this high frequency energy through the earth stars into the earth to very much encourage the full tangibilization of this purple ray emanation, which can be considered a tremendous dharmic accelerant to bring your one's soul star, highest truth, tangibly, firmly grounded, is quite the boon to the spiritual aspirants' highest path fully realized with high frequency efficiency. Hence, they're employed on both sides of the selenite scene right here to have that violet ray purification emanation being a very strong concentration between these 2 points of this entire output circuit. So this may be evident me saying this, but of course all these individual crystals will be discussing the crystalline organs of this vibrational crystal entity before us for this dissertation, so they all generate vibrational compound interest grounded to a primary wire of copper, brass, and silver to be the main vein, so that all of these emanations are efficiently emanating together to be a joint vibratory influence, or basically a construct of consciousness-assisted technology. Alrighty, so right here, this would be Libyan gold tektite, quite the amazing crystal of antiquity that was utilized by the pharaohs of old, the Magi god kings of ancient Egypt, and was actually carved into scarab beetles to be mounted into their finery breastplates. So it has a very powerful mystical gold ray emanation and is quite the powerful stimulant to the sacrum and solar plexus of the fire energies, as well as being a very powerful gold ray of illumination full light body activator as well, which dramatically intensifies one's manifestation or capacities of being in alignment with Source Uri. And so the aspect right there is also very much a sovereign, empowering construct to be a dharmic accelerant to ensure one's will is alignment with their highest dharmic path in the physical body and act from that capacity with great sovereign empowerment, essentially. It's also very much a fun, loving stone, very joyful, very fun energy, to put it lightly. And so very, very advantageous for this very regal construct before us. Then right here be its green ray, vibrationally speaking, cousin Moldavite. Moldavite is the quintessential green ray storm elemental crystal of great notoriety in this time and age for being a dramatic alignment to one's highest truth. So it is the quintessential dharmic accelerant, in my opinion, to align one's true self internally, externally to one's dharmic emanation. So Moldavite, even a small dose right here, goes a very long way to expediting the holy grail of one's life, if you would, to encourage that one's connection to creation is highly intensified with synchronicities, magic, internally, externally. It's quite the dharmic accelerant. That's why it's there. Then opposed to that right here will be phenakite. Phenakite is the very, very powerful beryl variety, which means it's a clear cousin to emerald of extreme vibrational clear potency that is perhaps one of the most powerful top 3, I'd say at least, third eye crown chakra activators of higher chakra activation, which is very, very powerful for dharmic acceleration as well, naturally, by being a tremendous induction to the third eye capacity, as well as the particular stimulation of the phenakite. It also makes a very powerful broadening of the entire chakra column to literally be able to have the wheels of light expand laterally and hold more frequency vibration, which is very, very advantageous for the adept, to say the least. Then right here is seraphinite. Seraphinite is one of those quintessential master healer frequency crystals I utilize quite religiously, like I mentioned with this guy. And of course, they work great in tandem, the star argonite and the seraphinite, because they have the same stimulation pathway job to generate significant vibrational compound interest of a fully illuminated, activated light body that works very diligently to clear any patterns of dis-ease that be affecting the mental, physical, spiritual, emotional bodies. And is perhaps my top 5 favorite crystal for this purpose, which is pretty ambitious statement for someone who's obviously rather obsessed with crystals. So that's why that guy's there in large dose, to be a very comprehensive full light body activator healer, and to work on any patterns of physical disalignment that be manifesting as a malfunction, if you would, to be a factory blueprint reset, and works to very, very diligently to remove the malware of imprintation that be impeding one's dharmic template capacity as well. Well, that's, of course, that guy's there to be a paperweight for my whimsical stick-figure chakra map. Indeed, is functional more than just looks. And then right above that, another classic stone of antiquity that's literally a favorite of millions for thousands of years would be turquoise. Turquoise is a world-praised crystal, which I will omit to keep this video slightly consolidated. But the functionality of turquoise is a very fantastic 5th chakra stimulant, and combining the elements of earth, fire, water, and wind through a 5th chakra focus. Hence, it's a classically praised crystal of great balance to one's highest truth, and of course to be a lovely pranic vitality generator as well through one's power of wholeness. Alrighty. So next section right here, I'll be discussing where this white leather hood will be installed in a cut to aesthetic appropriate nature, of course, for much more than just looks. So the aspect of utilizing white leather seen much like this, obviously this is not a finished construct, but it gets the point across, is far more than aesthetics. The aspect of utilizing white leather is, of course, is the 7 rays fully aligned and emanated to be a very balanced emanation stimulation of the chakra column. And then the aspect also works to insulate these crystals to, of course, prevent any leakages of stray energies from these sections of under here, to ensure the capacity of more efficiency of energy going through the primary blade band as well as the apex band simultaneously. And also, it works to protect all these crystals while they're being worn or being traveled with, what have you, that are of quite of exotic nature, to ensure that they don't run away from their host, if you would. So then, of course, it is a very nice aesthetic completion. Last, but almost least, I would say, it makes it look a little nicer when you have a leather right there, look like a more finished construct, but indeed is a hood that is far more functional than aesthetic. Okay, so without further ado, discussing where these components of the hood will be. Right here is black tektite, the product of nickel amurite impacting the sand from space, so that carries that extraterrestrial cosmic jolt into creation. And luckily, a very lovely black ray crystal that is very conducive to raising vibrations from the scaffolding threshold of the Earth stars all the way up, which is a very comprehensive full light body activator as well. But luckily, since it's black ray crystal, which is very conducive to grounding the contact patch, it raises the vibrational scaffolding as a whole from the ground up to literally raise vibrations to be another dharmic accelerant. Then right here will be the mighty zincite, which is a very, very powerful fire energy that is very, very conducive to vitality. Zincite has a stimulation to the root, sacrum, and solar plexus virtually unrivaled mineral kingdom for its very dynamic, activating, almost explosive nature to bring the lower 3 chakras back into alignment, which would be very conducive to the goal of vitality. And to be a tremendous zest for life, enthusiasm generator, adventurous, just like Ruby in that regard, of course. So obviously they work fantastic together to be that of vitality. The zincite, of course, will be a very powerful dynamic activation of lower 3 chakras to intensify one's lower scaffolding, which will be, like I said, very conducive to one's vitality. Then right above that would be Himalayan golden azestolite, which comes from the Himalayas, and is a very, very powerful gold white light source activation alignment frequency attunement as well, much like golden healer quartz mentioned on the primary blade band in bead format, to be a tremendous gold white light source alignment attunement frequency as a big goal of bringing the vitality of source alignment of one's factory blueprint is seen here in crystalline ignition structure order through this construct. On the backside right here is a special variety of serpentine called infinitite. So serpentine by itself is a very famous full Kundalini activator, which is very conducive to vitality, but the special variety of serpentine that named infinitite from South Africa has a way of decrystallizing any stagnant patterns from the root, sacrum, solar plexus, and the heart chakras that be impeding one's vitality. Hence, it is, of course, of the essence to employ this particular frequency to work as an insulation shield to prevent any leakages of energy and repair any holes in the etheric blueprint to the optimum configuration, which is very conducive to maintaining vitality. Then right here would be sunstone. Sunstone's a very fantastic positive masculine energy that stimulates the sacrum and solar plexus and is very much a fun-loving, joyful, vibrational energy, or basically kind of a cornucopia of blessings to be feel in alignment to one's creative power and to feel very empowered and very joyful upon one's path. Then right here would be a lovely clear quartz to be a neutral subcapacitator to the legendary emerald. Emerald, seen right here, is another legendary green ray crystal of royal antiquity, a true precious stone that most mortals have heard of for good reason, and is a quintessential heart chakra stimulant of abundance. So that would be the entire section of mentioned right thus far, and I'll be saving the selenites and the kyanites till the very end of the video for a comprehensive capstone. Okay, so at the very apex of this wooden core, which I'll discuss momentarily, is Tibetan black quartz from Tibet. Is a fantastic full light body activator as well that stimulates the entire chakra calm and brings the Om frequency connection to creation in a very heavy dose from Tibet. So the aspect of having a dramatic expansion of the higher chakras and the lower chakras simultaneously works as a full light body activator and works to, just like the other two mentioned in the Holy Trinity, to dismantle any patterns of dis-ease that be causing energetic malfunction and the energy field from any form of imprintation damage. So the aspect of the Tibetan black quartz, the seraphinite, and the star argonite carrying the same full stimulation light body healing capacity is the holy trinity of master healers that are employed quite frequently to all of them simultaneously in a trifecta, work to dismantle any patterns of disease or disruptions that be interfering with a fully healthy flowing light body that would be the ideal factory blueprint that manifests as physical ideal health in theory. At least I'll stay with a loose dissertation there. And the very top right here be a lovely, very royal configuration of Herkimer diamond at the very bottom to be a lovely clear quartz spectrum from Herkimer, New York. That's quite the massive amplifier of energy. Going into, once again, a lovely piece of emerald, seen like down here. Sorry, my phone's out of focus. To be the quintessential heart chakra stimulant as well of abundance. And then the very, very top right here, the quintessential stone of royalty is a white diamond, seen right there. So even one small white diamond through an entire construct generates vibrational compound interest to a dramatic intensification of energy that stimulates the entire chakra calm from top to bottom. So the aspect of the diamond right here works to intensify the entirety of the chakra calm through 10 out of 10 hardness, quite simply the most precious stone of antiquity, to intensify the entire threshold of the vibratory emanation. And of course, is a stone of royalty that is quite simply the king and queen of the gemstones. So that'd be most of the crystals discussed thus far. I'll go ahead and discuss the wooden core. The wooden core itself is actually oak from Sedona, Arizona, that is actually grounded into the waterway of Oak Creek to be a tremendous someone's at the door, but I'm ignoring them to stay focused on this dissertation. So the aspect right here of the oak from Sedona, Arizona is the wood range is very, very, sorry, I'm distracted now. Let me rephrase myself here. So oak. Sorry, very, very distracted. Oak is a very dense atomical structure of the wood range to be perfect for a vitality core, and this particular oak actually comes from Sedona, Arizona, grounded into the pathway of the waterway of Village of Oak Creek. So this means also this oak is tapped into the constant running waterway, which means the home tree of this frequency is very abundant and strong in its own way. That'd be very conducive to encouraging vitality. Okay. So the aspect right here of these selenites I save for last are always pretty evident at the comprehensive capstone right here. So selenite by itself is a fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra stimulant all the way back to one's Godhead, which works like blowing off debris to one's conscious self and higher self contact patch. So that aspect of high frequency induction also works as a master healer to burn off stagnant energies from the top to bottom of the auric field, to burn off any false self matrices that be impeding the higher and lower chakras. So the aspect right here of the selenite being a master healer in its own right also has a certain particular utilization for the purification, the amplification, and the harmonization of all these crystals in a closed loop reactive circuit. So the aspect of having the purification of all these crystals in one closed loop emanation is very, very evident. Then the amplification of all these crystals, then most and perhaps importantly, would be the harmonization of all these crystals in one circuit, is where it makes for a truly dynamic, effective spirit tool. Then the aspect of the kyanites terminated to the selenite, it plays a distinct role as well. Starting off with black kyanite to be the most, before I discuss the kyanites, so the aspect also of kyanite is the most rapid transfer of energy in the mineral kingdom in its respective color range designations. So black kyanite is the quintessential rapid grounder in the mineral kingdom, perhaps faster than almost anything else in the mineral kingdom, to rapidly ground the energy through the entire chakra column into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. Much like a surge protector to encourage the rapid transference of energy through the entire system, and in that regard as well, work as another layer of etheric Teflon to discourage stagnant energies from sticking to the field and being discharged very rapidly to, of course, in theory, energetically make the system incompatible with divisible energies that could store and cause depletion issues, in theory. Then on the other end right here would be blue kyanite. Blue kyanite is a very rapid transference of the left and right hemispheres of the, or basically the awakened third eye, to encourage rapid transferences of one's siddhis or psychic powers, latent capacities, in real time. Then against the wood itself, on the sides on both over here will be the orange kyanite. Orange kyanite is the most rapid transfer of the sacrum capacity to the highest configuration of creativity and manifestation. And the aspect of green kyanite seen right here, green kyanite is the most rapid transfer of heart chakra connection in that regard as well. So when you have all four together, it makes the most dynamic range of transferability, particularly in conjunction by giving these different various exotic crystals in a closed-loop circuit a directional pathway to stimulate and govern the emanation output, to bring harmonization and equilibrium, to intensify the transference of the energy into, of course, encouraging tangibility at a very rapid rate. So that would be the entirety of this crystalline composition mentioned. So as a capstone, once, of course, this is all taken care of, this will be wrapped aesthetically pleasing-wise and be designed to be worn on the person to be, quite simply, a very full, comprehensive light body activator in one contained unit that can be technically worn as a talisman, to have a very strong vitality emanation, hence the archetypal name does have the crystals to back the concept in a vibrational closed-loop circuit, to a very powerful fortification, stimulation of one's zest for life and strength, and to feel vitalized, energized, while maintaining, of course, God willing, by design at least, the impeccability of the blue ray antithesis to maintain one's highest spiritual truth to bring clarity of the path. And to further up the ante of excellence, I employed biblical magic seen right here, which actually is a joking term that my dear colleague came up and actually, God bless him, he printed out a label just for me because it's a joke I made about having these particular Sahu oils in my custody and mixing them together and telling him that it reminded me of biblical magic. So this is a coy, joking term made into its own blend that was actually employed and anointed on the wood here. So these oils, actually, it's a very long, amazing, miraculous story, but My colleague has access to these Egyptian cold-pressed small batch oils of a family that's been doing this for thousands of years, since the time of the pharaohs. So when it comes to any aspect of legitimacy and authentic magic that I can employ for my life's work, it's always a great blessing. So that's why with this such a very regal opulent construct, the aspect, even the layer of the olfactory stimulation of the combination of blue lotus, red rose, white rose, amber, and tamarisk is a very royal fragrance anointment of antiquity that would basically be fit for the pharaohs. Very fun fact, because indeed the family who makes this in Egypt actually used to make this oil for the pharaohs of old, which is very sci-fi and a very fun fact. And so that's why biblical magic has been anointed here. And also the wooden oak core from Sedona makes for a great host to actually saturate the oil. Since it's sanded, it carries the oil very nicely, so it does smell quite delicious. And the name of the company my dear friend runs is called Sahu, right there. So this is a very, very good specimen of the best of what I've come up with his oil so far that he turned into a blend just for me. God bless him. Okay. So I believe that would be pretty comprehensive for the aspect of vitality as a whole. Well, 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.